Okay, so what are your thoughts? It's a timely question, right? It is
Very.
the crux of what's happening right now. It is
Mhm.
the crux of it because this question, what do the plagues say about the acceptability of violence when it's used to accomplish good aims, right? Do the ends justify the means? That is really the crux of what's happening right now. And I think each side could explain that. So go ahead, Chris.
Well, one of the things we talked about is, does punishment just instigates anger, you know? And so punishment never gets you anywhere. And
Yeah.
all these people are reaching out to punish currently and back then. So
Responding with violence. No.
yeah.
We,
And
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Carol.
And we had trouble even discerning what were the aims, even in the ancient tradition. You know, what the aims, of course, were to get the Israelites out of being slaves, but even the plagues, does that even justify? I mean, it's hard to identify the aims even now in the Middle East. You know, what are the aims?
Yeah.
So we talked about, is war ever justified? And in each case that we brought up, it was innocent people. It wasn't soldiers killing other soldiers or dropping the bomb on just soldiers. It was the civilian population that suffered the most, particularly in Japan, dropping the nuclear bomb.
Oh, Vietnam too.
Yeah, the idea of ending the war. You know, that happened in World War II. And then, of course, in North Korea, we went in, and then we went in Vietnam. And then after 9/11, we went into Afghanistan. Nothing was resolved.
No.
Nothing changed. And innocent people, children, whatever, all suffered the consequences. So for me personally, war is not justified. There has to be another way. It hasn't solved anything. Yes.
So we agreed, I believe, that in the Bible, what we're reading, it seemed to us that definitely the end justified the means. When you get to where you're killing the firstborn to get what you want, that's pretty definite. And so then the question is, well, have we progressed any? You know, and nowadays, is it still true? And it's pretty hard to say we've progressed.
Yeah.
We may not think it's right, but it is to seem to be what we do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Others? Tony, thoughts?
It's as we said, war war doesn't solve anything. You know, they think it does, but then there's a war that's going to break out someplace else. And as I said before, I don't understand why God, the Lord, kept giving the Egyptians an out. You know, if you do this, you know, I'll you know, and then, you know, if, as I said, if it was me, he would have been gone in 2 or 3. You know, I just don't understand how nice he was to these people. But war is just, and then, you know, what I didn't bring up was, we did it in the United States. You think about the Japanese that were taken out of their homes, lost everything unless they had a good, you know, a white friend that would protect them. We put them in concentration camps. And if you've been to Manzanar, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think they did it to the Italians and into the Germans too. I could be wrong about that, but I know the Japanese were punished, even though they were American citizens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I had this really interesting the conversation with AC, and AC was our preacher this weekend. And AC is the executive director for an organization that does a lot of creation justice work. And one of the things that we were talking about, and AC made this point about the difference between a campaign approach and a spiritual approach, where you're in community and covenant with God. A campaign, and she sees a lot of campaigns on the environmentalist side. The ends justify the means. You do whatever it takes to win that campaign. There's a winner and there's a loser when you have a campaign approach. But when you let go of the campaign approach and instead look at it from a spiritual approach, where the ends never justify the means. It's about the means. The means are the manner in which you demonstrate justice and love and what you're trying to accomplish. It's a completely different way to enter into a problem. There are no winners or losers, right? And it's laborious. It is absolutely laborious to go down that path of choosing to say, no, the means are what matters, not the ends. How we're going to get there is what matters, not where we get to. And it's really causing a shift in a lot of people who are doing this work. One, because working for peace, working for creation justice, working for equity, all of those, things that matter that are just backbreaking and exhausting, right? Really require resilience for the long haul. And I think peace does as well. And so I've really been struck with that conversation about how we need to stop thinking in terms of a campaign model of how we work in the world, whether it be for climate change or for peace or for justice or for equality, or for welcome, any of the things that matter in this world, and instead move it out of a campaign mindset into the means by which we get somewhere are what really matter. Who's at the table? How are they welcomed to the table? How are they heard? How do we demonstrate love and justice in that behavior? So I've been holding on to that conversation a lot, because I sure see I don't see many winners in the Middle East. I see a lot of losers, a lot of losers. And out of that loss is a lot of grief. And out of that grief is coming a lot of rage and retaliation.
Yeah.
Something has to change in the manner in which we come together. And there are examples. I do believe there are examples. And I'll point again and again to South Africa. After apartheid, what should have happened to that country was it should have absolutely imploded. The rage that was present from the decades of brutal, hostile oppression in an occupied territory. And it took the love and guidance of someone like Bishop Tutu and Nelson Mandela to say, we will hear these sacred stories and we will honor them and we will make time to listen to them and we will heal. We'll go down a different path. So I believe it can be done. It can be done. It's not the easy route. So.
No.
And you need a charismatic person to guide them.
Yeah, I don't know that it's so much about, I was curious about who are the peacemakers in Jerusalem. And you know who the peacemaker are? It's the women, it's the moms. That's who's driving the peace movements in Jerusalem. It's the Palestinian moms and the Israeli moms, a lot who have kids in the military. That's who's driving the peace process. Those are the advocates, the voices for peace. And they had actually had a huge peace march on the 5th of this month, led by those women. So.
Well, I was wondering about the group, and now I'm forgetting the name of it, that has been working on more acceptance, more countries having acceptance of all the other countries in the Mideast. Cory Booker is one of them. And I mean, it's not just US, but Senator Booker is one of them. And I heard him speak the other day. And he says, oh yes, we're still meeting. And he was actually there when the attack on Israel happened. And I was so impressed with what he was saying. And I don't know, that was the first I knew about that. I don't know who all's involved in it, what level they work with their governments, but I just thought that was an actual positive thing that I heard for a change, where it's a multinational group trying to seek out unity rather than division.
Yeah.
And not just talking about, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had this or this, but and having somebody need a representative from everybody there at the table. Certainly when the Mideast was carved up after World War I, no, they didn't have everyone at the table. That was a European decision.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna call our discussion. Thank you for everybody for being a part of this. Next week, we're doing chapters 12 through 17. We're going to deal with the Passover. It's a hard story, but we'll go through it to the Red Sea and out the other side. So 12 through 17 next week, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Take care,
thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks.
thanks, Marcy.